The call came in just after midnight, when most of the town was asleep and the world outside was wrapped in a brutal winter storm. "There's a dog out here," the trembling voice said on the phone. "She's lying in the snow. I think she has a puppy with her. Please, I don't think they'll make it till morning." Those words were enough to pull Sarah Mitchell out of her warm bed and into action. Sarah was a volunteer with a small local animal rescue group, the kind that ran on donations, coffee, and pure heart. She had received many emergency calls before, but something about this one felt different. Maybe it was the panic in the caller's voice. Maybe it was the way the wind howled outside her window, like a warning. Within minutes, she was dressed in heavy boots and a thick coat, scraping ice from her car windshield with numb fingers. The roads were nearly invisible under layers of fresh snow, but Sarah drove slowly, gripping the steering wheel and whispering a quiet prayer. She kept imagining the dog out there somewhere, cold, frightened, and alone. When she reached the location, a lonely stretch of road near the edge of town, she saw a young man standing beside his truck, waving a flashlight. His name was Daniel, and he looked relieved beyond words to see her. "Over there," he said, pointing toward a shallow ditch. "I almost didn't see them." Sarah followed the beam of his flashlight, and her heart clenched. Curled tightly against a broken wooden fence lay a thin brown dog, her fur crusted with ice. Tucked beneath her body was a tiny puppy, barely visible except for a small patch of white fur. The mother lifted her head weakly as Sarah approached, her eyes filled with fear and exhaustion. "It's okay, sweet girl," Sarah whispered, kneeling in the snow. "I'm here to help you." The dog didn't growl or bark. She didn't even try to run. She was too tired for that. Instead, she pressed her nose protectively against her puppy and watched Sarah with desperate caution, as if trying to decide whether this human was a friend or another threat. Sarah wrapped a thick blanket around the mother first. The dog shivered violently but didn't resist. Then she carefully scooped up the puppy, who was so small and cold that for a terrifying moment Sarah feared he was already gone. But then he let out a faint squeak, and relief flooded through her. "They're alive," she said softly to Daniel. "Barely, but they're alive." Getting them into the car was a challenge. The mother was too weak to walk, so Sarah gently carried her, murmuring soothing words the entire time. The puppy was placed inside her jacket for warmth. As soon as they were settled in the back seat, Sarah turned the heater up full blast and raced toward the nearest emergency veterinary clinic. During the drive, she kept glancing in the rearview mirror. The mother dog lay curled around her baby, licking him weakly, as if reminding him not to give up. Sarah wondered how long they had been out there. Hours, days, had someone abandoned them, or had they wandered off and gotten lost? She would probably never know. At the clinic, a team of sleepy but compassionate staff rushed to meet them. The mother and puppy were whisked inside, wrapped in warm towels, and examined immediately. The diagnosis was grim: severe hypothermia, dehydration, and malnutrition. The puppy was especially fragile. For the next several hours, Sarah sat in the waiting room, drinking terrible vending machine coffee and silently begging for a miracle. She thought about how close these two innocent lives had come to ending in that frozen ditch. If Daniel hadn't noticed them, if she hadn't answered the phone, if any tiny detail had been different, they would have disappeared into the storm, forgotten and unseen. Just before dawn, the veterinarian finally came out with a tired smile. "They're stable," he said. "Weak, but stable." The mother protected that puppy with everything she had. "Honestly, it's amazing they survived at all." Tears filled Sarah's eyes. "She saved him," she whispered. "Yes," the vet replied. "She really did." Over the next few days, the rescue community rallied around the pair. Donations poured in for their medical care. People followed their progress online, cheering for every small improvement. The mother dog, whom Sarah named Hope, slowly regained her strength. The puppy, named Stormy in honor of the night he was found, began to wobble around on unsteady little legs. Hope turned out to be gentle, loving, and endlessly patient. Despite whatever hardships she had faced before, she trusted the humans caring for her. She wagged her tail whenever Sarah entered the room, as if she understood exactly who had saved her life. As Stormy grew healthier, his playful personality emerged. He bounced around like a tiny miracle, unaware of how close he had come to never seeing another day. Watching him, Sarah was reminded why she did this work: the late nights, the heartbreak, the endless effort. Moments like this made it all worthwhile. A month later, both dogs were strong enough to be adopted. Applications poured in, But one family stood out: Daniel, the young man who had first spotted them in the snowstorm. He had followed their story from the beginning and felt an unbreakable connection to them. "I found them," he told Sarah with a shy smile. "But you saved them. I'd be honored to give them a home." On adoption day, Sarah knelt down to say goodbye. Hope licked her face, and Stormy chewed happily on her shoelace. Letting them go was bittersweet, but it was also the happiest kind of ending, a new beginning. As she watched Daniel drive away with the two dogs safely in the back seat, Sarah felt a deep sense of peace. From a freezing ditch on a hopeless night to a warm home filled with love, their journey was proof of something powerful: compassion changes lives. That stormy night could have ended in tragedy. Instead, it became a story of survival, kindness, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. And somewhere out there, in a cozy house far from the cold, Hope and Stormy now slept safely, reminders that even in the darkest moments, love can still find a way to shine.